Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round yon virgin, mother and child, holy infant, so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace. Hey, Dad, we can do your verse now. Christ the Savior is born. Christ the Savior is born. Someone, who begot who?
Oh boy.
Let's see.
Someone briefed me.
Okay.
I was in Oklahoma City. And I was coming home from we had all the salesmen in the state there, and we was having a banquet, and so of course we had some drinks at the banquet, and it was a sales banquet. And so I was supposed to meet the family about 2 o'clock, and I was running a little late, and so I hit the stop sign on yellow, and I just went on through, and the person he pulled over, and the cop came over, and he said, "You go a little fast, and you missed that stop sign." So I said, "Listen, I've got to go. I've got something important." He said, "You don't have to go anywhere." And he reached in and got my car key. And I just took the door and blasted the door.
Yeah.
And
Don't do that.
he went down on his back. And so I looked down at him. He had his gun pointed right up at me. He said, "You're going with me, aren't you?" Yes, I guess so. And so I got to the jail. I talked to his sister, and I told her I was in the Hooskow, and so I'd never met any of the family. And so she came with Granny and Agnes, and all of them were waiting for me when I walked out of my jail cell. That's when I got acquainted with the family. Cop, I forget what it was about. He says, "You're not going to take my husband to jail without me." And he said, "Well, we've got to take him to jail." And says, "Well, not without me." And he said, "Well, help yourself. You can go along." And so they put us both in jail for a couple of hours.
You remember the first time you ever met Granny?
First time I met who?
You met Granny?
Granny.
Yeah. See, we've heard all these stories.
Do you remember the first time?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Dad was coming home from a sales meeting one night, and he had had a couple drinks. And so Granny had come to see them, and he had never met her before.
Met him.
Met her, Granny.
Oh.
And Granny had never met Dad, yeah. And so Dad was in a hurry because he had probably stayed for that last one for the road too long. So he was heading across town, and the cop stopped him. And, well, Dad was pretty fired up because this cop was trying to hassle him, and he had to go meet Granny. So he just flung the door open and hit the cop in the head with it, and was stepping out to pounce on him, and the cop pulled his gun.
Did that happen, Dad? That's not one you like to talk about, huh?
So what's going on? So the first time Granny met Dad, she had to come and bail him out of jail.
Well, you almost got it right. That's in Oklahoma City. And I was coming home from we had all the salesmen in the state there, and we was having a banquet, and so of course we had some drinks at the banquet, and it was a sales banquet. And so I was supposed to meet the family about 2 o'clock, and I was running a little late, and so I hit the stop sign on yellow. And I just went on through, and the person pulled over, and the cop came over, and he said, "You're going a little fast, and you missed that stop sign." So I said, "Listen, I've got to go. I've got something important." He said, "You don't have to go anywhere." And he reached in and got my car key. And I just took the door and blasted the door. And
Don't do that.
he went down on his back. And so I looked down at him. He had his gun pointed right up at me. He said, "You're going with me, aren't you?" Yes, I guess so. And so I got to the jail. I talked to the sister, and I told her I was in the Hooskow, and so I'd never met any of the family. And so she came with Granny and Agnes, and all of them were waiting for me when I walked out of my jail cell. That's when I got acquainted with the family.
2 years after you'd been married into the family.
Was that with open arms? Did they welcome you with open arms?
Oh, they felt sorry for me.
You didn't tell them the whole story then, right? Dad must have changed that story a little.
What are you doing? Come here, Hansel. Oh. You think if you give me a kiss, you did.
Hi, Nancy. This is your brother Rob. And this is your brother Bun. Yeah, duh. Nancy, I'm sitting here thinking about you, and I want you to know what a wonderful sister you have always been to me. From the time we were little kids until now, I've always loved you from the bottom of my little heart, and you've always made me so happy. You've always been so sweet. Now, in your younger days, you were a little ornery, I have to admit, but I even love that about you. And the days, like in the days when I stole you in Jean's blue Torino and was driving around, and you used to get mad at me for little things like that, I did, but I still loved you even then. Nancy, you are so cool, and I have always been so inspired by you, because not only are you such a beautiful person, you have such a wonderful heart and a wonderful spirit, and you have always been such a strength to all of us. And I understand sometimes along this rugged old road that we call Earth, that it gets weary for you sometimes. And even though I know it does, Nancy, I still want you to know what an inspiration and what a warming sister you have been to me and what you've done for my heart. And also for all of our family. And so here's just a few words from your brother of appreciation to show you how much I love you and to tell you how much I love you. Your turn, Bud.
My turn. How you doing, Nance? I wanted to reiterate what Robert said. We all sure love you a lot. You know, they're talking about things when Connie was saying some things before we got on the camera here about what happened in Grandview when we all moved to Grandview. And I was pretty young then, me and Joe were, so we didn't remember a lot. But we remember while everyone said how beautiful that blonde-haired preacher's daughter was. And Connie says, yeah, but it was the green polka-dotted bikini that really got everybody hanging on the fence looking at you. So I thought that'd be something kind of cute to remember about, that everybody still remembers those times and everything. And I just wanted to say that I love you a lot, Nancy, that we're always thinking about you and praying with you. You know, and one thing that I really appreciate is that you've made a tremendous difference in Joe's life and the things and the decisions that he's made in the last couple of years. You know, and Joe has done quite a turnaround and just about everything in his life, and especially towards the spiritual side of his life, where the way he looks at God and what God actually means to him. And so I want you to know, Nancy, that you've made a big difference in Joe's life. You made a big difference in mine, too. So, Nancy, we love you a lot. And we want you to know that and have a real Merry Christmas this year. We love you a lot, Nancy.
Bye, Nance.
Get out of here. Get out of here, man.
This is a good story. Now, I don't know how many people remember this, but Nancy, this was back when Gene had left to go to school at the University of Montana.
Oh, shh.
And Jerry Walker was taking you out at the time.
Uh-oh.
Now, Jerry Walker was getting a little too serious,
Oh,
and
this when
Gene found out about it.
Drove back from Montana.
Yeah, and it flat pissed him off. And so Gene came back, and he was going to kick Jerry Walker's ass. And I thought it was a pretty good deal. I was fairly proud of the whole situation.
When that happened.
And Jerry Walker backed down and took off because he just didn't want to face up to what was going to happen.
And
So-
Nancy was so mad.
Yeah, what?
Why did Gene have to come down here and do this? And he didn't even talk to me
I
about it.
was just a little, I was only 10 or 11 years old then, and I remember that though, because me and Bobo were going, right on, Gene, kick his butt, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Fool with your
Yeah.
woman.
And then you probably don't remember that little 45 love song on that record that he sent you. I don't remember what the name. It was like You and Me, Baby, or something.
Yeah.